Hello everyone, my name is Celeste and today I'm going to be showing you this recipe that I could not get out of my head by Sweet Greens Vegan on Instagram, and I'm going to show you how I went about making it, so let's go. I decided to grab some thyme at the store, some portobello mushrooms, a few red potatoes, or several red potatoes, a bunch of asparagus, and then she listed some ingredients like extra virgin olive oil, coconut aminos, but I have soy sauce, agave, steak sauce, crushed red peppers, black pepper, paprika, garlic powder, and onion powder. So I'm going to be cutting up my potatoes after peeling them. I use red potatoes, but you can use whatever you want. And I'm just I peeled them and I'm cutting them into quarters, 4, whatever. And just so that they can cook a little faster. So that's what I'm doing here. And I could not get this recipe out of my head. I'm not even joking. So there is our pot of potatoes. We're going to fill the pot with water after rinsing. Rinse first, fill the pot with water, adding some salt. In the meantime, we're going to be washing our mushrooms, I guess. And so I'm opening the package and I have my damp paper towel right there. And I'm going to just be gently wiping around the mushroom. Apparently, if you just wash the mushroom, it comes out tougher when you cook it. So this is a way to wash your mushrooms without making them tough. So that's what I'm doing here, just wiping all around, making sure that there's no dirt or anything I don't want. And then I'm gonna cut off this little stem just to make it flatter, something, you see it. So after I'm done with that, I'm going to be placing each of my cleaned mushrooms in a Ziploc bag, 2 per bag, just because that's how much room I feel like I could comfortably fit. And so now we're going to make our sauce or our marinade. I'm doubling her recipe, but I'm just using exactly what she put, which is 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I'm using 4 tablespoons. Now 2 tablespoons of steak sauce. I'm using 4. I'm not looking at all. I'm just eyeballing it. Next, she said 2 tablespoons of coconut aminos, but I have soy sauce, so I'm just using 4 tablespoons of soy sauce. Next, we have the agave. Agave is pretty sweet, so she said put a tablespoon of agave. I didn't double that. I just put what I thought was a tablespoon of agave, and it was pretty sweet, so it worked out really well. Next, we have a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I'm using 1/2 teaspoon. Then we have our onion powder, a teaspoon of onion powder. I did 2 teaspoons. We have our garlic powder, a teaspoon of that. I'm using 2 teaspoons of garlic powder. We have 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, smoked paprika. I just had regular paprika and I used a teaspoon. Yes. And then our red chili flakes is 1/4 teaspoon, but I used 1/2 teaspoon-ish. And then I decided to add a few of our fresh thyme in there. It didn't add anything to it. I just thought it'd be a cute little thing to add to the recipe. But that is totally optional, not necessary at all. And then you whisk everything together. It might have been easier to put in a jar and shake it, or a bigger bowl. I don't know. But hey, it's all good. It's mixing up quite nicely, as you can see. And then we're gonna just kind of carefully split it in half and put them inside the bags to let our mushrooms marinate in the lovely sauce. I didn't even taste the sauce. I trust Sweet Green Vegan sauce so much. Not even gonna taste it, but it was good. It was actually super good. Then I'm gonna close my Ziploc bag and get out as much air as you can and kind of work the marinade all around through the gills, through the whole thing, and let that sit for like 10 minutes while we move on to something else. That something else is our asparagus. So I'm taking a sprig of one of the asparaguses, and I'm going to naturally see where it snaps off, and where it snaps, that's where I'm going to be cutting all the other asparagus, like a natural guide. And so that's what you see me doing here. My asparagus is on the far right, and I'm just lining it up and cutting about where that line is. And so there's our asparagus, putting it in a glass pan, a very well used glass pan, I might add. And we're gonna separate that out, cover it in some olive oil, like you see me doing here. Just not too much, just enough to coat. Then I'm going to be just lightly adding salt and pepper into the pan as well. And then I'm going to put that in the oven until everything's basically done. I'm going to put it in the oven for 350 or 375. It depends on what your oven situation is like. But I put mine in for 350 until everything was done. In a cast iron, I moved on to my mushroom, and I oiled the pan a little bit and put the mushroom just on top, put some parchment paper down, and then put another cast iron down to press it. What Sweet Greens Vegan did on Instagram was she said she had like a panini press or a grill. I don't have that. I don't have an appliance similar to that either. I have a grill pan, but I have no idea where it went. Story of my life, right? Always losing something. But it's working out very well. I pressed it for a couple minutes and then I flip it over and press it again. So that was that situation. I did this for each one, and you can see it getting flatter and flatter, and it's expelling its juices and all that fun stuff. And I flip it one last time, a third time, just to make sure it's really cooked on the underside, and I press it down and we get that going. And she said it takes about 3-4 minutes each side, but it took me, I don't know, I want to say closer to 5 minutes, but I had to turn my pan down. It's smoking a lot, as you can see. That's what we got. Look at that. That's beautiful. I did have to turn my pan down to like medium low-ish to get them cooking together, but I placed that aside and set that in the oven while I did my potatoes. So I'm using vegan butter. Earth Balance butter is what I'm using. We drained our water out. Now we're adding our ingredients. The butter is in. Now I'm going to be putting in some Follow Your Heart cream cheese, just a little bit because I didn't really care for it too much. And then we're going to be using Follow Your Heart sour cream. And I'm mixing the potatoes up a little bit to help everything melt together. But yes, we're going to be putting in our sour cream. Nice dollops of some sour cream, like you see me doing here. And then I'm also going to be adding in a splash of milk. I forgot to buy, they didn't have unsweetened at the store. I didn't forget. They didn't have it. Oh, no, I'm adding in my salt and pepper. That's it. Seasoning my potatoes real quick. Then I'm going to add a splash of milk. I didn't buy unsweetened, but it's fine. It worked out. Just a splash. And then I'm going to mash these potatoes like it's nobody's business. Mash, mash, mash. I want it to be creamy. I want it to be smooth. I want it to be... What are good adjectives for mashed potatoes? I don't know, but you see what I'm doing. I want it to be like super silky. I don't know. Just very creamy and like delectable. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Look at that. That looks so good. Period. That's the consistency I want. That's perfectly the consistency. And then I ended up tasting it and it was perfect. Brilliant. Loved it. So then the last step, I decided to make a gravy out of the marinade that our mushrooms were in. Just the last step. So I cleaned out any burnt bits of my cast iron. The heat's off. This is just residual heat. And I'm adding in my sauce. And then I'm going to whisk it around and add in a little cornstarch. You can add whatever thickener you want. But I was thinking, waste not, want not. The sauce is good. I can just add it more to the potato, or either to the potatoes or more to the mushrooms. So I'm adding in my cornstarch, like you see. It's cornstarch and water because I don't like my gravy lumpy. And that's about the consistency I want. And it's perfect. Perfect. Now here's my spread. I have my creamy mashed potatoes. I have my asparagus. I did a splash of balsamic vinegar to finish it off in the oven. And my mushrooms, which were still expelling marinade, which was so good. And my gravy. There's my gravy. And so here I'm gonna plate it all up, hopefully kind of like how she did here in her picture. So I'm doing nice heaping massive amount of potatoes. Delicious. Delicious, delicious. It looks good. Then I'm going to be adding my mushrooms. Hers were flipped over so that the gills were like upward. So that's what I'm going to do too. I'm going to flip mine over so that the tops are upside down. Something like that. So that's what I'm doing here. 2 nice sized portobello mushroom heads. And then I'm putting some of the juice, because it looked like some of the juices were, that wasn't gravy, that was like juice from the mushrooms, I'm assuming, in her picture. So I put some of the marinade juices like so on my potatoes a little bit. Then I'm adding my asparagus on the side like so. I haven't had asparagus in a minute. And then I'm just gonna clean up my plate because you know I've been trying to be better at like presentation and whatnot. So I be doing like the chefs be doing, and I'm gonna clean up my plate. So I grabbed a little paper towel and I'm just going around the plate getting any, I made a mess on the countertops, but we're focused on the plate, right? So I'm just cleaning up around the plate, making sure it looks nice and presentable. Like, would I serve this to a guest? I would serve that to a guest, absolutely. So thank you so much. Oh, and I'm adding a sprig of thyme. I don't know, a thing of thyme, because that's what I saw in her picture. So that's it. Oh no, it's not. And then some parsley, but that's it. That's the picture. That was the inspiration. I could not get this out of my head. It was like plaguing my mind. Thank you so much for watching. I really truly hope you enjoyed. Thank you to my subscribers. I see us growing. I see us and our cute little family just blossoming and being great together. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in my next video. Love you. Bye.